Look at the money in your bank account right now. It feels solid. It feels permanent. It feels like the one thing in your financial life that cannot simply stop working. But that number on your screen is not wealth. It is a claim, a promise that the dollars you hold today will buy roughly the same things tomorrow. And that promise depends entirely on something most people never think about: the dollar's position at the center of the entire global financial system. Right now, that position is being challenged, quietly, steadily, by a group of countries building an alternative. The question is simple. What actually happens if the dollar gets replaced? How would it work? How long would it take? And what would it mean for the money sitting in your account? The answers are not what most people expect. Start with what a reserve currency actually is, because almost no one explains it properly. When two countries trade, when one sells oil and another buys it, when one ships goods and another pays for them, they need a common currency both sides trust. For decades, that currency has been the dollar, not because everyone loves it, because everyone else uses it. Think about what that means. The vast majority of global trade is settled in dollars. The vast majority of international loans are written in dollars. When a factory on one side of the world sells to a buyer on the other side, the deal very often runs through dollars, even when neither country is the United States. This is the single most important thing to understand. The dollar is not powerful because America forces anyone to use it. The dollar is powerful because it is a network, and networks are extremely hard to leave. Picture a room where everyone speaks one language. You might prefer a different language, you might have good reasons to switch, but the moment you start speaking it, you are the only person in the room no one understands. So you keep speaking the common one, not out of loyalty, out of necessity. That is why the dollar has stayed at the center for so long. To leave a dollar transaction, you need someone on the other side willing to deal without dollars, and most of the time there isn't one. So to replace the dollar, a competing system would not just have to be good. It would have to break that network, not match it. Break it. There are 3 ways that actually happens, and all 3 are worth watching right now. The first way is that the country issuing the currency damages it from the inside, a nation that spends far beyond its means, that piles up debt faster than it can ever repay, slowly erodes the world's confidence in its money. Nobody has to attack the currency. The damage is self-inflicted. The world simply watches a country spend what it does not have, and quietly starts looking for alternatives. The second way is a loss of trust triggered by a single decision. When the country at the center of the system shows that it can freeze another nation's money, money that was deposited legally, held in good faith, every other holder of that currency takes notice. The message lands instantly. Your reserves are only yours until the issuer decides otherwise. And the moment a central bank believes that, it starts moving a portion of its wealth into something no government can freeze. That is a large part of why central banks around the world have been buying gold at the fastest pace in generations. Gold cannot be switched off. Gold has no counterparty. Gold sits in your own vault answering to no one. The third way is the quiet one, the dangerous one. A competing system simply becomes easier to use, not louder, not more aggressive, just smoother, cheaper, less friction. This is how dominant currencies have always been replaced throughout history, not by a dramatic collapse, but by a better alternative that slowly wins the everyday transactions, one deal at a time, until one day people look up and realize the center of gravity has moved. This is exactly what a block of major economies is now attempting. A shared settlement system, a trade currency partly backed by gold. Payment rails that route around the dollar entirely. It is early, it may not succeed. But the goal is not to defeat the dollar in a single blow. The goal is to build a parallel system that works quietly in the background until using it becomes normal. If that happens, there will be no announcement. No single day the dollar falls. It will simply become apparent gradually that more and more of the world is settling its business somewhere else. Now here is the part that matters for you. When a currency slowly loses its place at the center, the people holding it are usually the last to notice. The money still works, prices still look normal, the system still functions. The decline happens somewhere most people never look, in the accounts of central banks and the ledgers of international trade. And then one day, it becomes visible to everyone. It does not arrive as a crash. It arrives as a squeeze. The slow loss of the advantages a reserve currency quietly provides, cheaper borrowing that gets more expensive, imports that cost more, restrictions on moving money that did not exist before, a growing sense that your money does not stretch as far as it used to, without a single dramatic moment you can point to and say, that is when everything changed. That is the real danger. Not a sudden collapse you could see coming and react to. A long, grinding erosion you only recognize in the rearview mirror. So what do you actually do about it? The pattern is always the same for the people who come through these transitions with their wealth intact. And it comes down to one idea. You hold things that do not depend on the network. Money in a bank account depends on the network. It depends on the system staying open, the currency holding its value, the rules not changing against you. That is fine when the network is strong. It is a trap when the network starts to fail, because the exits can close faster than you can reach them. Hard assets do not depend on the network. Physical gold has no counterparty and answers to no government. Silver works the same way. Productive land grows food regardless of what any currency is doing. Real skills can be traded directly for what you need. These things do not care which currency sits at the center of the world. They hold their value across the change, not because of it. The people who protect their wealth are simply the ones who move early, who shift a portion of what they have out of the pure paper system and into things that survive on their own, before the squeeze makes it difficult to move at all. Here is the reframe most people miss. The whole debate is usually presented as a single dramatic question. Will the dollar be replaced? Yes or no? Will it collapse, or will it survive? That question is the wrong one. Dominant currencies are almost never replaced in a single event. They fade while the new one rises. For a long stretch, both exist side by side. Some trade in one, some in the other, and the shift is so gradual that most people living through it never feel a specific moment of change. So the world worth preparing for is not one where the dollar suddenly disappears. It is one where the dollar slowly shares the stage, where its dominance erodes year by year, and the quiet advantages it gave ordinary citizens erode along with it. The people who suffer most in that world are the ones who assume the money in their account is the same as wealth. The ones who protect themselves are the ones who understood the difference early and acted while they still could. And that single distinction between money and real wealth is the oldest question in economics. It is the question at the heart of the very first book ever written on the subject. A book that asks plainly what real wealth actually is, and why the things you truly own are the things that do not depend on anyone else's promise. We have published a modern English edition of that book. It is called The Economicus. It is available now as an ebook, a paperback, and an audiobook. You can find it on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching.